Yes, my people, good day. Been a mechanic for over 20 years, doing this professionally and never been out of the shop this whole time. There are a lot of things that I've seen, a lot of experiences that I've had. And I see some videos sometimes pop up when I'm scrolling through social media, and it's unbelievable some of the things that people do to do some repairs, and then very ingenious some of the things that they come up with. So I wanted to share some of them with you. We'll take a look at this one right here. So the first one that I see right here. So now this truck, pickup truck, obviously they retrofit the engine and put something else in there. I don't know if it's a Nissan. It looked homemade, but it seemed like it started out as a I would say a factory built car, and did its time, and then they refused to let it go, and then they put new life into it. That's the way it's looking like to me. They have this engine on the front here, almost looks like a pump, like an industrial engine, and then they coupled it to the transmission and the differential drive shaft and everything, and it's still working. It's still in service. So hats off to these farm engineers here making it happen. In the background you can see a pretty solid, pretty stout farm tractor. So these people here know how to keep something going. Next, let me take a look at this one now. This ball joint too, I have actually done this before. They have like this hypodermic needle that you can get as an attachment on your grease gun. And sometimes ball joints, like upper ball joints or lower ball joints, they may lose their lubrication and they start squeaking. So when you turn, it's like, so it's very annoying. Or if you're going over bump, you hear, you know which vehicle used to do it a lot? Expeditions used to do it a lot. So what happened is the grease in the ball joint dries out for whatever reason. Maybe the boot may have torn, rainwater get in there and dust and dirt dries out the grease, and then now the ball is dry in there, so the ball joint starts making a racket. Now, is there play? There might not be any play. It might still be tight, so technically you can't really fail it for inspection, and then technically it's not bad, it's still good. It's just that it's noisy, it doesn't have any grease. So with this hypodermic needle attachment on your grease gun, you can inject grease into that cavity and it quiets it down, and it will also extend the life of that ball joint as well. So I've actually done this before, so it's a good idea. As a matter of fact, I was looking for my needle the other day because I always want to keep a track of where it is. I haven't seen it in a while. I couldn't find it, so I may just need to buy another one. Next video, let me take a look. And this one now, how to turn old tires into new ones, turn trash into a treasure. So when I was dabbling in the heavy truck market, tractor trailer tires, you could get them retread. They're actual tools that you can use to kind of cut tread back into the tire. This person here just cutting new grooves in it. You see it there. And then he makes it look easy, but it is not that easy, believe me. The rubber on these tires is pretty tough, and just to be working it through there and not getting it caught on the wire reinforcement in the tire, it's not so simple and straightforward. So this person got skills. Now you see it's got tread again, a little bit more life. You know, am I going to trust this to run from here to cross country to California or something? Maybe not, but in and around town, and if you can't afford it and it's cheaper, I don't know anybody that does that personally, but wherever these guys are, they're making it happen. It happens. Tires get retread, but I don't know if you want to put a brand new sticker on it still, but yes, that's how they do it where they're at. All right, next video. There's an actual tool that does this. This is a dual overhead cam engine, and they're doing the timing belt. So you don't want the cam gears to go out of time. They have to be in a specific spot pointing to each other. See, you have the yellow mark right there, and when you take the belt off, sometimes one gear goes up a little bit, another gear goes down a little bit, and if you put it back together with the timing off, it may not start, or if it does start, if it's possible, it could be an interference engine. You could damage the valves. So with him using it looks like a coat hanger wire here, and latching them together. Technically, it's just preventing them from moving out of time. This works. It's a little bit crude, but it works. At the end of the day, it's all about if it worked. And if it worked, it worked. I've done some crude stuff before. It's just what it is. So, yo, hats off. I have done this. I have not done this specific thing, but if I needed to, this would work. Yes, pretty cool. Next video. Now, coil packs. When I am checking for spark, you can use this trick here. You can pull up and see if there's a difference in the running of the engine if you have a misfire. But with this video, I just want to warn whosoever is doing it, that spark from that coil that is deep down into that hole there, when you pull that coil up, now preventing it from easily jumping the gap to that spark plug, it is going to find the easiest route to ground when it's jumping. Now, you could be that route. You will be surprised how wide of a gap that spark can travel. So, when doing this, I would recommend you be using a special pliers with insulated handle so you can pick it up, and then even if it does, the spark does come up out the hole, it does not go up through the handle, through you to ground. That's all I'm saying. I have felt the joys of an ignition coil before, and believe me, I can do without ever feeling the shock of an ignition coil again. Over the years, it's been quite so many times. That's how I know that when you're pulling up on it like that, don't think that you're safe or invincible. You will feel it. Yes. And those who have felt it know how it feels. Next video. Now, that's the tie rod end, and it's done. It's bad. This is one way to remove the pin by using a pliers. I have done it like this before. If it's a steel knuckle, I take the hammer to it. If it's aluminum, rather not. I use the right tool to press it out, press it in. So it's a bad tie rod end. They're replacing it with the new tie rod end. I count the turns when I'm removing it and put it back the same amount of turns. So therefore, I'm still going to do an alignment, but I want to just make sure that the wheels, if you don't count the turns and put it in too many turns or too little turns, you run the risk of the tire being in a little bit or out a little bit. So on your drive, if you're doing it at home or somewhere else that you don't have an alignment machine, the tire will be scuffing on your way to the spot. Next video. I like this trick right here, but not all tensioners have this little alignment hole and you can use the pin. I save that pin when you buy a new tensioner from the part supplier. Usually get it with the pin in it. So I already saved that pin because it has come in handy for me before, where I see that this particular vehicle I'm working on has the alignment holes. I'll grab the pin and I'll take the tension off. Then I'll just stick the pin right back in. It's pretty nifty. It's a nice little idea. But sometimes some of these vehicles, the tensioner is so hard to get to, so inaccessible. And then the space between the frame rail and the tensioner sometimes does not allow you to put a pin in there. It all depends. So I keep the pin handy and then also keep looking out to see if this is one of the options. And if it is, I take advantage of it. Now, next video. The airbag blew on this particular vehicle right here. They had an accident or something. They're not replacing the airbag for some reason. The airbag light will be on. So you see they cut the excess off and then now they are resealing. Wow. No, I must say, doing good work. I'm not saying that I'm doing it. I'm not saying that I'm recommending it. I'm just saying that, you know, that's some skill right there, you know. But if let's say you're in the market for a used vehicle, this is something to remember to keep an eye on. The airbag light would be on. And then also you'll notice that the airbag in the steering wheel has lines where it ripped open from a previous accident. So keep your eyes open. Your airbag light on the dash, when you turn the key on, the airbag light should illuminate and be on for a couple seconds and then go off. They call it a bulb check. So if you're going to buy a used car and you turn the ignition on and you don't see the airbag light come on or the check engine light come on or the ABS, all those lights must come on. And some of them will go back off afterwards. Some of them will stay on until the car is started. Keep an eye out for that. Next video. Now, this is a classic right here. I have so many projects. I have so many classics. I don't have one in this far gone of a state, but There's something about us mechanics that we have a problem with letting it go. We might restore it. And let me tell you, more often than not, we do not end up restoring it. But we still end up holding on to it for the memory, or I'm not sure exactly why we hold on to it, but we do hold on to it. But this is a little bit far gone. I wouldn't take this on. This right here, you're probably looking at in hours, over 1,000 hours, couple thousand hours to get it. Depends at how nice you want it to be. But that's a lot of work. It looks simple. Well, it don't really look simple, but it's a lot of work. Next video. They're struggling to undo this drain bolt. The only thing I notice here is, and just one word of advice, if you are changing your own oil at home and doing your thing, me personally, do not use a 12-point socket or the open end of your wrench. If it's a 12-point, don't use it on your drain plug. Use a 6-point socket with your ratchet, because you run less of a risk of rounding it out if you're using a 6-point socket, just a regular socket and a ratchet. If you use the open end of your wrench, that is usually 12-point, it can round things off. So to avoid the headache, to avoid the trouble, to avoid the worries, always use a socket. Or if your open end on your wrench is a 6-point, you can use that. But me personally, I don't use a 12-point. I just don't use a 12-point because the drama associated with it. And I don't want to have to be pulling out any tricks out the bag just to get an oil change done. All right, next video. Now, this happens to everybody. We're doing sway bar end links, undoing the bolt. Now, me personally, this person here, they went raw dog with, and they, pretty good video. So they went raw dog with the fork and broke it clean off. Me personally, I reach for the vice grips first. So you get some vice grips, especially the ones that has a curve in it. Not the flat one, but the one with the curve in it. And then I go behind there, between the boot, the rubber boot, and the part that it attaches to the McPherson strut. I go between there and then I clamp it all, I bite onto it. And then the teeth will dig into the metal portion of what you're trying to undo the nut on the other side, and then it will come loose. So whenever I go to loosen these, and it's spinning, I reach for the vice grips first before I go for the fork, because you, yeah. But his way could work as well. You know, he's got some nice tools, Milwaukee for the win. But me personally, I grab the vice grip first. All right, next video. There's a lot of raining and flooding going on these days. Recently in Florida, 2 hurricanes passed through here over the space of 2 months. So there's a lot of standing water on the road, a lot of flooding. Me personally, I always recommend that people turn around and don't drown. Now, in this situation here, this is, you know, it looks like a kind of off-road, all-terrain. I don't know how the rest of the setup is, but you never know how deep the water is in the middle. And then also you don't know if the road was washed out, and then now you think there's road all the way, but there could be a drop off in the middle that you're not seeing. So it is always best to turn around, don't drown. Unless you saw somebody went through before and you know that there's not a missing piece of road. Now, with that said, if a tractor trailer is able to go through it, it doesn't necessarily mean that your Honda Civic will go through it as well. You understand? Especially if it's rushing water. It takes no more than about 6 inches of water to pick your car up, and it'll float away. Believe me. So you don't want to deal with that drama where you have to be rescued from the roof of your car with a helicopter and your car is just floating down the river. You understand? So next video. All right. This is why Audi labor is so expensive for one control arm replacement. You see that there? You are right at the finish line, and that bolt is so long and it's hitting up against the frame. I work on Audis a lot. I can identify with this right here, and it's true. So at that point now where he is, it looks like he's working out of his garage at home. He probably wasn't ready, but he's going to be ready you have to lower the subframe. Good thing about it is you won't have to necessarily drop it all the way out, but you're going to have to lower it probably 3-4 inches. So you'll need to put a jack under the subframe. You'll need to undo the bolts and then lower it down until you can get the bolt to slip out. Put the new control arm back in, put the bolt back in, lift it back up, put the bolts back into the subframe. So I know about this Audi stuff, and it's happened to it just par for the course working on Audis. Next video. Now we're finishing where we started, and these guys look related to the first video that I made. And I don't know, it's loaded, but it looks like it gave up the ghost on this final load right here. Wow. And this thing probably still runs. Wow. You see the sign in the grill? That's a Peugeot. Yeah, that's a commercial for Peugeot. Hey, those lights have not illuminated in a long time. That's all I can say. But they're still running. They are backed up to the dock, loading up. So, you know what I mean? Don't Alpha Fish. Yeah, I guess I could Google that and see where that place is. But I don't think they're going to throw this thing. This thing looks like it could have been thrown away 50 times already. And it's still running. And then even though it looks like that the frame is busted here, I have a funny feeling that they are going to fix it and put it back to work again. Yes, that is what I think. But yeah, man, just a few videos. I had some free time and I was just scrolling. I come across some of these and just want to watch them with you, share my opinion with you. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like it, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to comment. And if you like it or you have some videos you want me to watch or comment on, leave it in the comments. And I will most definitely find them and give you my take and my opinion on it. But yeah, man, thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Bless you.